Hey, it's Coach Zack from Ultimate Baseball Training. Today, I'm going to talk about my bullpen routine. It's very important, especially in baseball, whether that you're a hitter, you're a pitcher, just to develop a routine that you can go through every day at the field and find something that really works for you. Today, I'm just going to give you a couple tips on what I do, and hopefully you can take some of that and implement that into your routine as well. Let's get going. All right, so if I know I'm pitching on a certain day that day, the first thing I'm going to do when I get to the field is just go in the weight room and start foam rolling, making sure that we're getting every muscle group rolled out and loose. So make sure we're foam rolling out on our back, our hips, our calves, quads. You can even get into your biceps and forearms if you want. But actually take some time at each stop and really making sure you're doing everything you can to get your muscles as loose and as ready to go as you can. And now that we kind of got all the behind the scenes stuff taken care of, at this point we should be on the field about 30-40 minutes till first pitch, getting ready to go. Biggest mistake I see a lot of kids, especially younger players, make is that they go out and they throw to warm up instead of warming up to throw. You have to take care of your body better than that. You have to be able to maintain your health throughout a whole season, and the more and more you just look past your basic warm-up, you're gonna end up being hurt more often than not. So really making sure that you're making it a priority to get a quality dynamic warm-up in before you even think about picking up a baseball. So with our dynamic warm-up, it's not gonna be anything too crazy, but enough to get us ready to go. So first thing you can do about 10-15 yards is just do high knees on the way out and butt kicks on the way back. Very basic, but it's always a good thing to start out with. Want to make sure we're also getting some side shuffles in and make sure you can do those down and back. If you want to add like an arm swing with those, you can. And then also we want to make sure that we're stretching out our quads, our hamstrings. Well, you can be walking, do those statically, but really making sure we're doing any quad pulls or hamstring scoops. We have to make sure that those are loose because we use our legs so much when we pitch. And also, if you want to go through another upper body routine after that, whether that be any kind of arm swings or arm circles forward, arm circles back, make sure you can do that as well. It's all routine based, so whatever makes you feel comfortable, feel free to go ahead and do that too. All right, so after you get your dynamic warm-up done, your blood's probably pumping a little bit more now, getting closer to getting ready to go. But before we throw, I like to go through a shoulder tube exercise routine. I wouldn't really recommend this for the younger players. I would say high school age and up, I would recommend this for you just to see if you like it, see how it makes you feel, and see if it could fit into your routine possibly. So the first exercise that we're going to do is just an external rotation from the side, making sure that we're keeping constant movement throughout the whole exercise, but also keeping good form with that as well. Next one we're gonna go through is another external rotation exercise. So the first one we went from the side, and now this one we're gonna go elevated. Same thing, making sure we're keeping the same form and constant movement throughout the whole exercise. That way we can get as much out of it as we can. Next two that we're gonna go through is all that I do. You can go through, start from the bottom. It's pretty much just a bicep curl. I like this one just because it kind of incorporates all the muscles in your arm. Obviously, when we're getting ready to pitch, you want all those as warmed up as we can. So I like to make sure I get that one in every day. And the next one, you can kind of go through like a dry rep of your throwing motion with the shoulder tube. That way, you can kind of get a little weight on your throwing motion, kind of get that warmed up, and it really helps activate your shoulder. The last thing I do before I throw is I make sure that I go through any kind of band routine that I can, and this is something that kids at all ages can do, and make sure I do these every single day regardless of whether I'm throwing or pitching or not. Just make sure that we're getting as much recovery and much warm up as we can depending on whatever the situation can be. So just find any kind of bands, find any kind of bands that are comfortable with the level of strength that you have. The first one we're going to do, all these are going to be just one set of 10 reps for each. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to put our hands together like this and just go through pretty much a basic tricep push out. And next one we're going to do is just make sure we have our feet centered, and it's just going to be a basic chest fly, and that way we can activate the chest a little bit too. We can also, depending on if it feels comfortable for you, you can do the reverse of the other flies with that too. That way you're getting your chest and your shoulder blades going. After that, you can kind of go to one arm. If you want to lower the band, you can. I can't really do that right now, but making sure we can do our external rotations with that, or we can also do our internal rotations too. So making sure those are probably the most important too in this whole routine that you can do. So if you don't have much time and you don't have a time to get a couple exercises in, I will do those too. So after that, all we're gonna do, the last one, is making sure we're just getting a basic reverse throw in. So making sure we're keeping a good posture, a tight shoulder, tight scap, so we're getting the most out of that routine as we possibly can. All right, so now that we did all of the pre-throwing drills and routines, you should probably be pretty warmed up and ready to go by now. Let's get into the throwing though. So what I like to do is, as soon as I start throwing, I don't like to go out super quick, but for those who do, whatever your long toss distance may be, as far as you can throw, I like to get probably 60 to 70% of the way out before I pitch. I don't want to overdo anything. I don't want to make my arm tired, obviously, before I go into pitch. So let's say your max distance on your throws is 300 feet. 200 to 220 would be a good place to kind of finish up at before you go into pitch. And then after you kind of get as far out as you want to go and you're ready to go, I always like to make sure that I come in about probably 30, 40 feet from wherever I am and just try to do some pull downs. You can crow hop, you can shuffle, but just really making sure we're trying to throw that ball through a line as far as we can. If you don't make it to your catcher, that's fine, but we don't want to make sure that we're putting anything in the air just to try to get to the catcher. Make sure at least at some point before we get on the mound, we try to do something max effort and see how much velo we can get out of that. So as soon as you kind of get done with that, so at this point you've lawn tossed, you got all the way out, you've made your couple pull downs, and now you're into about 60, 70 feet. This is something that I've developed kind of over the years, just to make sure everything feels good, everything feels right coming off the hand. I like just to try to get 3 or 4 of each pitch to the catcher, not down. Have your catcher just stand up and just try to hit him in the chest with it, just to make sure everything, like I said, everything feels good coming off the hand, everything's spinning the way you want to. At this point, you're on the mound, and you don't need to go crazy with your bullpen. We don't need to be going 30 or 40 pitches in the bullpen, because when you get out there, you get 8 before you even start. So we want to make sure by all costs we're not sitting there 40 or 50 pitches in before we throw to the first batter. So I like to throw 3 fastballs to my glove side and 3 to my arm side, just to start off. And then after that, I like to throw 3 changeups, 3 sliders, 3 whatever breaking balls you throw. You can mix in 3 or 4 of those, and then just kind of do the same thing from the stretch. So at this point, we can get to about 20, 25 pitches in our bullpen, making sure everything feels good. Once you get on the mound, you're not going to be sitting there thinking about how everything looks, how everything feels. All you're concentrating on is getting out. So the point of our bullpen is pretty much just a primer to get us ready to go into the game and just get everything right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you can take some of my routine and kind of implement it into yours. It's really important to make sure that you can develop one, especially in baseball. If you liked the video today, please like and please subscribe. Look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.